Now before testing our player, I want you to check something. So drag your player from resources into the hierarchy and select your player, and make sure that the camera, so right now the camera, you can see that when I click the camera, this camera is highlighted. So instead we are going to drag the camera from our player which is residing in the resources folder. So drag this camera right here. Now when I select it, this camera is going to be highlighted. Now the same thing with the cowboy sprite, because we have a sprite render right here. So what we are going to do is we are going to drag this cowboy from here to this. Now whenever you make some changes on player prefab or any prefab, then make sure to hit the apply button so that all the changes get applied. Now after that, let's remove the player and go to game manager, and in the game manager also make sure that all the references are assigned from this player which is in the resources. Now one other thing that we need to do is in your game manager script, in the spawn players method, in the second line where we are instantiating our player, make sure to add this last argument as 0. Now we need to do one very important thing. On your player, we are going to add a new component called photon transform view classic. So because we are using a new version, so in here we will have two options: photon transform view, which is the newer one, and the old one, photon transform view classic. So if you are using older version, you can simply add transform view. If you don't have photon transform view classic, we will talk about this view, but for now we are going to add this photon transform view on our player. So just select the player from the resources folder and not from the hierarchy. So we can simply select it and add component and photon transform view classic, and in this we will have three options: synchronize position, rotation, and scale. So we don't want to synchronize rotation and scale, we only want the position. So just check the position, and in here we have different options: enable teleport and interpolate options, and we will talk about them in a later video section. So, and also one other thing to do is on your photon view, here we have a component called observe component. So we want to observe this transform view. So we want to observe the position of player across the network. So simply drag this component right in the observe components. Now save the scene and everything should work fine. So if you are having any problem, just you will find the complete version of this in the exercise files, so you can play it from there. Now I am going to delete this player from the hierarchy and I am going to build it. Now here we have our build. So let's add a nickname, ASD, create name, and we are going to create and join a room called test, and here we are going to spawn our player. Now let's run the second instance here. And we're going to create a new nickname and join the same test room. and now you can see that we can see our player in both of the screens, and the movement is synced across network. So let's spawn that local player, and now you can see that our movement is completely synced. Now same thing here, if we control this player, the position is going to be updated on the second user.